Alright, so the job for tonight is to swap out the stock exhaust on this 2018 Street Triple RS for a Racefit titanium black edition exhaust. I have Racefit on my 2.0. I love it. It's not to everybody's taste since it's kind of ridiculously loud. I like it though. I love the way it looks. Their quality is top notch. You'll see. I'll show you. I'll bust out the pipe later, but I mean the welds are perfect. I mean it's just, they do great stuff, and for the price I think they're much more reasonable and much more attainable than something like SC Project or Akrapovic or whatever. Anyway, everyone has their preferences. That's my preference. For this, I went over, from what I could see, it seems like I'm only going to need 2 sockets to take this stock can off. And that's going to be a 12 mil and a 10 mil. I think there's only 2 bolts, but most likely I'm wrong because I'm a moron. So I'm sure I'm going to need more. Anyway, let's see how this goes. Wish me luck. Oh, nope, there is another. Sorry. Ooh, this one might be a pain. Let's see. Yeah. Alright, there we go. Huh. This one was. There we go. Oh, there you go. Stock muffler. It's pretty freaking heavy. Okay. Yeah, not bad. The only thing that was kind of giving me an issue there was this little guide pin here, exhaust hanger, kind of hooks in onto the other side, and you can see they put some grease in there and it was sticking. So I couldn't get it out. That right there is the pipe opening. There you go. It's pretty clean under there. I mean, the bike only has about 500 miles on it, so it really shouldn't be that dirty. Put you back over here. All right. Now the pipe I'm putting on is this. This is all titanium. I mean, it weighs probably a quarter of the weight of the stock one. Fits in just like this. There you go. Now, what I have to do is figure out if I'm going to need a clamp. They didn't provide any clamps in the packaging. This will be interesting. interesting. This will be interesting. There. Huh. Well, let's see. One of the funny things about Racefit exhaust is that in every package they actually give you a set of earplugs because, you know, hearing loss. And like I mentioned before, I mean, you can see, well, I don't know how well the camera will focus, the welds on this thing are just beautiful, just perfect all the way around. All titanium, which is, if you weld at all, you'll understand it's very hard to weld titanium. It takes a lot of practice, and whoever did this knows what they're doing. I mean, they're beautiful, beautiful welds. Anyway, enough about the goddamn welds. You know what? I'm gonna have to loosen up the rear sets a bit to get a little bit of play in there so I can hook up that bolt and then snug it up all over again. There she is, all done. Since my camera was being a dick, there's a little cut there, but I mean, you didn't miss much, trust me. Anyway, I love the way it looks. I mean, it opens up the rear pretty nicely, and I mean, I wish there was maybe a little covering here, but I mean, it doesn't look too bad. Well, let me show you guys. Very nice. Like I said, I love their stuff. So, like you saw, I was trying to get it on without having to really touch the rear sets, but it was being a little fidgety. I could have done it, but I was putting more muscle into it than I wanted to. As a general rule, if something doesn't go in easily, forcing it in is never a good thing. General rule, forcing it in, not good. Anyway, so yeah, it's just 2 bolts, easy. Loosen them up. Gave the rear set enough play to fit in this one bolt here. The other thing, let me show you on the other side of the bike. The only other issue was you can't really see it in here. The clamp is behind this little heat shield, and normally when you do an aftermarket exhaust, it'll have some type of clamp so that the aftermarket exhaust will clamp on to whatever is left over from the OEM. So this is coming right off of off the headers. So the aftermarket pipe would have one of their own clamps that would made up with the head pipes coming off. But I mean, Racefit didn't do that. They give you silicone. I mean, and if you can't tell, I mean, this is some high quality, fancy. No, it's just silicone. Anyway, they give you that to seal it up, and then you snug it on there, and you know, I'm sure it'll work. You know, it's not rocket science, but I just wish they'd given you a clamp. But that's minor. This is minor. Anyway, before we turn this thing on for the first time, whenever you install an aftermarket exhaust, you always want to wipe it down with IPA. IPA being isopropyl alcohol. You know, the strongest stuff you can find, the better. The reason is, and especially on titanium, as it heats up, the oil residue from your hand and from your tools and whatever grease you put on it while you were putting it on, the oil residue will stain the pipe. You know, these things get up to 400 degrees, so it'll turn a different color. And with titanium, you want it to be as pristine as possible, because you eventually, over time, you want it to get that nice bluish tint to it, which looks really nice. And if you turn it on without cleaning it, you'll notice splotchiness and some stains here and there, and it'll just piss you off. So just wipe it down, some IPA on a rag. You know, that'll burn off basically any oil or anything, any kind of residue that's left on there. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna let that dry off. I'm gonna put away my tools, and then I'm gonna fire this thing up and see how it sounds. All right, here we go. First startup of Racefit Titanium Black Edition. Tools that I used. I just use a socket extender here, a 10mm, 12mm, 6mm Allen key, 13mm open face wrench, and a little driver. I mean, that's really all you need. The 5mm you might need depending on the exhaust you get. I didn't need it this time really. So I took it out just in case. Anyway, it's really not hard. Like you saw, I mean, it takes making maybe about 10 minutes, maybe, to do it. I mean, your first time through, it might take you longer. I've done so many of these already that they're all basically the same. Once you do one, you do them all. Anyway, so this is all you need, guys. I mean, it doesn't take a lot. These are some cheap Harbor Freight specials. You know, don't be afraid to work on your bike. As long as you're not really getting in there and you take your time, I mean, it's all pretty straightforward. And it's all common sense. If something seems like it doesn't fit or it's not working, you might want to step back, stop what you're doing, take a look at it, analyze it, because nothing on a motorcycle is meant to be forced. I mean, on anything mechanical really is meant to be forced. It's usually pretty straightforward. It usually makes sense, and everything fits together pretty easily. Unless you own a damn Italian motorcycle. Oh, Italians. Anyway, don't get me started. Pretty straightforward. Pretty easy, guys. Anyway, I hope this helps somebody. Yeah.